In a galaxy far, far away, there exists a group of fierce and fabulous women who are on a mission to explore the depths of pop culture. They are the Galactic Gals, and they are here to take you on a journey through the cosmos of entertainment. From the latest TV shows and movies to a trip down the Milky Way of nostalgia, they will delve into the worlds of fantasy and imagination, bringing you insights and analysis that are out of this world. So buckle up, cosmonauts, and get ready to blast off with the Galactic Gals Pop Culture Podcast.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to another edition of the Galactic Gals podcast. Welcome.
Hey, everybody in the verse.
Yeah, that one always gets me going. That one, especially when I see David Tennant. I don't know. I get that chilly feeling there, like because I'm going back to watching Power of the Doctor and having to endure that horrible episode. But at the end, my friends, we see an actual doctor, which is amazing. So I had to throw that in because every time I see that part, when I edited that, I was trying to make it seem like that Capaldi was regenerating into David Tennant. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It wasn't quite there, but it was something. So.
Oh man.
That's our fantasy, is that happening, actually our fantasy was, and if I'm not to regenerate, to have 2 more years, but we didn't get that. So that's just a depressing thought that he didn't get that. But we're not here to talk about what Capaldi didn't get or what he didn't get, because really that's just a sad story. So we're not going to be sad today. We're going to talk about some fun stuff today and some crazy stuff today. So let's just get to it, shall we?
Yeah. Peter's too busy anyway. I mean, he's directing.
Right. Exactly. He's being blessed. It's called being blessed. When someone treats you bad, you get blessed. So that's that's proof right there that you did get blessed. So we have a lot today, and this is and if you notice this is not a Good Omens podcast, but I just seem to seek those out for whatever reason, and supernatural articles for whatever reason, but it's not that. At the end, we have a kind of a special fun thing, like those Entertainment Weekly lists that they make. Ours are better.
Mm-hmm.
Ours are much better than those Entertainment Weekly, best movie lists or whatever. So this one's going to be a good one. I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
Cool.
So let's get started. Let me pull up my little PowerPoint here. And the first one we're going to talk about, of course, is the trailer. I know this is a week late. We streamed last Friday. Me and Michelle did, so we could have a Mother's Day weekend just to relax.
Yeah.
Right. So we're kind of behind it, but we're going to talk about it a little bit. Watch the trailer. I don't know. Are you? I'm getting kind of like tired of some of the just the articles that are coming out personally. I don't know how you feel. Like, are you excited, or does this trailer make you excited, or are you just kind of like, oh, okay?
It's just mundane for me. It's like it's the same. There's no more meat to it. Yes, David Tennant's in it. Yes, Catherine Tate's in it.
Right.
It would have been nice to see Bernard Cribbins at least get a glimpse of him.
Right. Something else besides Beep the Meep and the toy maker and Donna, asking, about his face, it kind of is. But this did reveal like 3 titles, which I think is weird. It's like, I don't think they've ever done this where they just reveal titles. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I don't ever recall that.
Yeah, it's a strange thing to get. It doesn't excite me. Like, they're just titles. They don't mean anything. I guess you could just speculate all day long about the titles, but there's 3 titles. The one is the Star Beast, Wild Blue Yonder, and the Giggle.
Yeah, the Giggle. Oh,
yeah, that's cringy. That's cringy.
It is.
I mean, I can't really defend that. I can't defend that one. The Star Beast sounds like something from the Moffat era. It
sounds like the Star Whale. That's what I think of.
That's what I was thinking of too. And Wild Blue Yonder, I don't know. I don't know if that really does it for me either. But again, these are just titles. They don't mean anything. It's what's inside, But, I don't know. I've never seen them announce the titles, but
when I hear Wild Blue Yonder, it makes me think of the Scare Force. Oh, sorry, I mean Air Force. Us veterans, we like to pick on the others, but
I don't know why, but it makes me think of a Western.
Yeah, that could be. And then the Giggle, I don't know why. I just think of clowns.
Does it make you giggle?
It makes me. I don't know.
Maybe that was his whole
makes
point.
Me want to run the other way.
Giggle. I don't know. Like, it doesn't make me cringe. It should be called the cringe. I mean, really, you're just gonna go with it. Just go to the cringe.
Oh man.
But yeah, I guess we should watch it. I mean, I've watched it once. It's well, and look, I have a lot of friends in the fandom, as you do too, and we don't always agree. I don't agree with Ian. I think these trailers look really good. No, I mean, they don't have like the greatest special effects, but I think that's the point. I think he's trying to like make it cinematic, but kind of stay true to kind of the bad special effects, because some of them aren't great, but some of them are interesting. It has a different feel to it than I think his original run a little bit. It's a lot better, and I think because Disney's involved, but I'll just watch it. And I mean, hopefully people, I don't know if they do another trailer. I don't know, I think people might protest, which is kind of an odd thing.
Well, here we go. Give us more than 30 seconds. I mean,
right. Right. And the other thing is, before we play this, I'm kind of interested more into what Shooty, like the trailers with him, and maybe some storylines, maybe some ideas thrown out. We've talked about that before, and it's just like, I understand. Look, they've already sold me. I'm going to watch the 60th. That's just.
Oh yeah,
that's definitely. Like in the bag, right? You got me in the bag already, because David Tennant and
in a way, I almost feel bad for David, because it's like, it looks like they're putting the whole, show on his back.
They are
trying to bring it back, and that's not fair to him either.
Well, I mean, he's getting paid, I'm sure, like quite handsomely. But I also think he loves the Doctor. He loves Doctor Who, and he wants to see it, at its best. And I get it, but I kind of want to see some, like, besides costume changes, I want to see some like scenes with shooting in a trailer. I mean, I feel like they should be focusing more on trying to sell us on season 14.
Yeah.
Not or series 14.
Yeah.
Than this, because I think most people, like 60th anniversary, David Tennant and Catherine Tate were there. I think most fans would, unless you're just a hardcore and you're just still angry. But anyway, enough jibber jabber. Let's watch this again for most of us, but some people may have not seen it.
Why did this face come back to say goodbye?
I don't think that's a plane. It's a spaceship in trouble.
Oh my God, where are we?
I'm sorry, Donna. He's here, driving you mad, laughing at the human race.
What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, it's also actually very good for him to see him saying, sub to the Doctor Who channel, and it's David Tennant saying it instead of her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice. I think that there's some goodies in here. I think it does look exciting, especially with the Celestial Toymaker, which is what I'm kind of interested in.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited about that, how that's going to play out. It looks serious, and it looks like David is playing it very serious.
Yeah. I wonder, because when I see them together, him and Donna, it's I wonder, okay, is he just a figment of her imagination? Are we living in a memory of hers? Could she be projecting something? We won't know until we actually see. I really hope.
You mean like this is just in her head?
Yeah.
I really hope they don't do that.
That'll really make me mad if that's what happens.
Yeah, don't do that.
I want to see them actually meet.
I wish she would like envision Jodie Whittaker, and then like that would be a good way to retcon it, and then like have some kind of vision of her, and then like she wakes up, it's a horrible nightmare, and then she realizes that Tennant's back. David Tennant.
That'd be great.
And that would be cool. Like it was all in Catherine Tate's head or Donna Noble's head. The whole Jodie Whittaker. That was what happens when the Doctor tries to erase your memory.
Yeah.
You get like crazy mixed up stuff.
Yeah.
So we have some people in the chat, and I think this is what I was thinking about the other day. Exactly what you're saying is, honestly, it's way too early for too many promos. There's still half a year to go. Yeah, I think it's almost like people are getting fatigued already, but it's not the right stuff, in my opinion. It's not. Right. It's not. I think most people are curious more about Shooty season because they're already sold on this anyway.
Right.
And that's the one that you're going to have to really like. That's the part where you're going to get us back fully, because this is just going to be like a 60th anniversary, and then everyone's going to. I don't care if they say they're not going to watch it. Everyone's going to watch this. Mm-hmm. Everybody is going to watch there because they're going to be curious. They're going to watch this. Yeah. What they need, what Russell needs to focus on is getting us back for series 14.
I agree. I'm hoping that after one of these air, and because we still have like 6 months to go, that they'll start maybe showing some more teasers or trailers about Shooty and what he's going to do. It would be nice.
Right. Right.
I think they're just using this as a hook to hook people back together, which fine, course.
Yeah, as long as you can deliver in series 14, as long as you can do that, because if you don't, they're going to be angry about that. They're going to be angry about being duped. Right. So, yeah, you have to be very careful. Now, I'm not saying series 14 is going to be horrible. I'm not going to say it's going to be good, but I want to see, I think people want to be, what's the word? They want to be like, they want to know it's going to be okay. They're going to know that it's going to be a good show. They want to see some snippets of that. And I think that's why people are a little bit, I know that's why I'm getting a little irritated. Yeah. I'm just like, I don't care about costumes. Show me a clip of you playing the Doctor in the costume. I want to see it. I want to see something to say, okay, it's in good hands. I can sit back and I can relax now. I'm not so like keyed up, you know.
Yeah, besides, you know, his little brief tease of, will, you know, someone tell me what the hell is going on, you know.
Right,
I mean,
right.
when he did that phrase, that little speech, I mean, that was the doctor.
Right,
you know,
right.
And I want to see more of that.
Right.
So,
but I mean, there was a scene that she had where it looked kind of promising. So that doesn't, like, to me, it's like I didn't get like the same feeling as when I saw Peter Capaldi in the costume in the TARDIS. And he didn't literally say anything. So, you know, with just his eyes, it all, you know, like, okay, he's it for me. Not everybody felt that way. Some people didn't like Matt Smith either. I wasn't a huge fan when I first saw him. And I wasn't real thrilled when Eccleston left because I wanted more, and I was a little irritated that I like David Tennant, but I was like, why is he here? This is too early.
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't even had to cook, you know, it's like taking the chicken out from the oven too soon. And he's just start kind of cooking, and now like, wow, you know, now we're like making something else, and it's not, you know what I mean? It wasn't done, and I felt kind of a little irritated with that. But then I, of course, got to know David Tennant, you know, and the 10th Doctor, and how he played it, and it was great. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we're probably taking this all too seriously, and I try not to do that, but it's easy for me to get sucked into that.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but it kind of is one of those things where you find yourself taking it all very seriously.
Yeah, I've done that with shows. So, yeah.
I predict the first scenes of Shooty we'll see will be in the previews at the end of their special. Yeah.
That's what I think too.
Yeah, and that's generally what they do. I mean, there'll be a regeneration, and then you'll get like a few seconds, maybe a line or two, and that's it. And then we have to wait a whole other year to see. Yeah,
because they're releasing the first episode on the 60th anniversary, and then they're doing a Christmas one, and then what, New Year's?
No, we're not doing a New Year's.
Not doing a New Year's?
New Year's are out. New Year's are old. New Year's is so Chibnall yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, that's out. Thank God. Now.
Okay.
And this will all tie into the literally the 60th, November 23rd, which is the 60th.
Okay. Yeah.
Which literally is, that'll be from the premiere of An Earthly Child. Okay. So yeah, it's been 60 years since that episode aired.
It's a long time.
Which ironically, it aired the first time it aired the day that Kennedy got shot, I believe, and then they had to air it again because the ratings were just so low. They weren't very good, and then they did it again, and then it took, and then the rest is history.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So what is our next article here? Yeah, here it says. Just to say that Doctor Who's 60th anniversary specials will see air in November, but it doesn't tell you the order. But I'm sure Gary knows.
Yeah,
Gary will tell us. Okay, so the next thing I found yesterday, it's interesting. I love the covers of these books. It's kind of like a lot going on though, but I do like the way that they did each one. Except I think the last one's hers. I don't like that one, but.
Ooh,
6 stories for 6 decades coming the 26th of October this year from Puffin Books. The Decades Collection, a new series of novels, each celebrating a different decade from Doctor Who extraordinary history. And it looks like the first one's Hartnell. The second one, it looks like Capaldi, because you can tell by their profiles.
Yeah.
The third one, obviously, the self-made man is Tom Baker.
Yep.
Wannabes is probably Tennant. And I would say the monster in the cupboard looks like Eccleston, and the last one looks like her. Where's Matt Smith?
Yeah, really.
What did he do lately? I mean, that's odd. And I'm assuming that the last one's her because it looks like her hair, but it could be. I don't think that's Smith because it's the Angel of Redemption.
Yeah, I don't think
but it could
his
be
hair was poofy in the front anyway. So.
I mean, hers look interesting either. Yeah, but they do. I like the way they look. I think that's a very cool. So that's something else to buy. Some people didn't like the logo, but I think it's kind of cool.
It's the top of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
Yeah, that
Would
looks
you buy?
really interesting.
Would you buy these or buy a few of
I
them?
probably would.
Obviously.
I'd probably buy a few of them. Yeah.
Buy hers. That's obvious.
No.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't see him on here, so I don't know what the deal is, but why couldn't you do like a 7th book and come on now?
yeah. I
I
mean,
don't think
really.
again either.
No, and I'd love to see him. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that would be cool.
Yeah.
Like on a book like that, and you're not going to put McGann in there. It's odd.
Yeah. Or even Pertwee. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but maybe this is just the beginning. Maybe that they will. Yeah, I agree. Should in the 90s be McGann and the 2010s be Smith or Capaldi? Well, that's what you get when you hire kids that only have watched Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, they don't always get it right, but I mean, hey, they look interesting and maybe they be good. Yes, and the crap Jodie logo is gone. At first when I saw it, my I guess because I'm so used to seeing that stupid logo, I thought this had that logo. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, okay, it's good. We're all safe now. It's fine. It's the safe, good logo. Okay. So here's a really good article, and honestly, as much as you don't agree with people politically that's in the Doctor Who circles, and I don't agree with Georgia Tennant politically. She's in the left, but I think this is like really commendable that she declined a role in Good Omens, and the reason why she declined it was because it was a historical figure that was older, that was a woman, and she felt like that was wrong to do that. I'm just like, that is the coolest thing that you actually can acknowledge that you're not right for that role.
Yeah.
And you should step down and step away and do that, because people had asked, if, the wives and the girlfriend had, any inclination of being in the series, because actually Peter Davidson's going to be in series 2.
Yeah.
And she said that she was offered a role, and it was a historical figure. She didn't say who, but she said she stepped down because she felt like this is an older, this needs to be played by an older woman, because historically this woman was older.
Yeah, that's a classy answer though. Yeah.
It is. It is.
I know I'm looking forward to it for sure.
I am. I really am, and I think it's going to be I've got high hopes, in other words. I think it's going to be good. And think it's facts at 6 episodes. As much as I want more, I think it's going to be better quality.
Yeah.
Because you have time to, you can tell the story, but tell it and without filler episodes. It's just pure goodness. And rewatching the first one made me realize that was a good move. And not to fill it with stuff that garbage, like they always do these filler episodes in seasons. Sometimes you're just like, okay, let's get to the good part. But there was just really every episode was just good.
Yeah, I agree. I love David Tennant in it, but I love Michael Sheen's character more. Oh, I love Aziraphale. He's just brilliant.
Yeah, he is. He's really right for that role, and I like the scene where he's dressing up as the Scottish guy with the big teeth. That was very funny. That was very funny. Anyway, she did step down, and here's my thing. I wish that people would be like this about actors and actresses would be this way about race swapping and gender swapping more.
Yeah.
I really think that if people would just do that. I mean, actresses just say, look, it's not all about the money. It's about what's right. And what's right is I'm not right for this role because I'm the wrong sex or I'm the wrong color. And I think that would be really great. I mean, you wouldn't see a white guy being cast as, like Muhammad Ali. Right. It would be wrong. So it works both ways. And but it's nice to see that she actually like uses her brain.
Yeah.
Does the right thing. So, but anyway, he goes on to say that as for Georgia Tennant, it really would have been a joyful family affair if she had taken the season 2 role, as her father, Peter Davidson, and son, Ty Tennant, will be joining her husband, David Tennant, for the 2nd season. I need it cool, but I understand. It's cool. I mean, but she's cool, though. She's cool for doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. And it just goes on to say, and there will be a season 3 from what I understand.
Yeah, if the writer's strike ever ends.
Yeah. And that's another thing we'll be talking about. A little bit of writer strike, a little bit douchebag repellent for this next one. And this, of course, is our resident douchebag, Wil Wheaton. Issues threat to Jeopardy host Ken Jennings. Your privilege may protect you right now, but we will never forget. Wow, dude. Like, really? Basically, he threatened the Jeopardy host Ken Jennings, who seems like a very nice man. After it was reported he would fill in to host the show after Mayim Bialik reportedly chose to stop hosting due to Writers Guild of America's strike. In other words, she probably virtue signaled. That's pretty much. And here's his little smarmy. And this is the thing, I like bounding into comments, but my God, they put the most smarmy pictures of Wil Wheaton together ever. Like, he just looks so satisfied in that picture. Like, I told him. Deadline reported on May 11th that Mayim Bialik chose to stop hosting the game show to stand in solidarity with striking writers. However, the outlet also reported that Jennings would take over hosting duties on the show, with the final episodes of season 39 being filmed this week. 39, jeez.
Golly.
At the Sony Pictures Lost in Culver City. The show had prepared for their pending writer strike and had written the questions for this most recent season in advance. Smart. Yeah. In response to Jennings choosing to host the final episode of the season, Wheaton took to Facebook where he threatened, "This is a very small town, Ken Jennings." I don't know if that's I'm not imitating. He doesn't sound like that. That's too manly. We will all remember this. Your privilege may protect you right now, but we will never forget. WGA strong. # virtue signal. Wheaton would later add a edit further explaining his threat. "This is getting more attention than I expected or wanted. And I don't want this to be about me." Of course you want this to be about you. Everything that you ever say on Twitter is about you, Wheaton.
Here's a clue. If you don't want it out, don't write it down.
Or don't say it. Don't speak it. Just don't get involved. Just shut up. Being disappointed by a choice Ken Jennings made, I want attention and energy focused on supporting the writers who are fighting for the professional. No, you don't. Opposed by billionaires who are keen to ruin my entire industry. Really, what's going to ruin your entire industry is this woke shit you guys keep blabbing about. That's what's going to. That's what's ruined your entire industry, douchebag. He's like, apart from the character, like, that's one thing you're hating on is a character doesn't exist, but he plays him. So yeah. And he makes me like Wesley Crusher, which is weird. But he continued, "I'll offer one example of how outrageous the AMPTP's position is. David Zaslav is the new CEO of Warner Brothers." Yeah. Okay. Last year, he paid about $250 million. That's one man who's already a billionaire. I mean, like you, trust me, Wil Wheaton has money. It may not be $1 billion, but it's way more than I make. I can tell you. Quoting Adam Conover, "That's about the same level as what 10,000 writers are asking him to pay all of us collectively. The needs of the many outweighed the greed of the few, or the one, y'all."
Oh, really?
Wheaton wrote, and that isn't even the worst of it. "I haven't gotten into the issues of what are called mini rooms and how we will all deal with the emergence of AI. It's fucking terrible." Really? The WGA is not unreasonable. I stand with my fellow union members. I urge you to do the same, he concluded. And let's all say it together. Shut up, Wesley.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll leave that on that beautiful picture because I don't want to look at Wil Wheaton anymore. But basically, he went on to Twitter and he was crying like a baby over this writer strike thing. And here's my opinion on that: write good stuff, and they'll pay you what you're worth. Because you're not writing good stuff anymore. Because people are bowing out because every time we get something new, it's got woke shit in it.
Yeah. And and Blossom, who hosted Jeopardy, Mayim, however you say her name, I mean, she ain't got nothing to lose. She's a neuroscientist, so she's got money.
Right. They all have money. And you're sitting there going to preach to people. And I'm not saying Ken Jennings doesn't have money too. I'm sure he does. But honestly, like I would care if these writers were something to praise. I mean, these are not like DC Fontana or,
Right.
one of I mean, it's not even Roddenberry. It's not even anything like that. It's not anybody creating anything that's worth a shit. So I don't, dude, get off your high horse.
Yeah, they
You don't
can't
care
think of
about these
anything
people.
new. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just trying to like get attention, Yeah, and Vanessa's right. What makes him think we care about his opinion? We
Yeah.
don't. And I mean, we're obviously talking about it, but it doesn't mean we, I'm much woke ain't no joke. Okay. Yeah, and it's just like, and then they're gonna talk about AI, like an AI, this is gonna stop. What? Why? Because they're gonna use AI to do the job that writers can't do. Well, maybe
Well, I mean,
this will open up
you know,
people that can write. Maybe somebody
well,
will go to work from that wants a shot.
well, writers do hit writer's block. Maybe AI can help them out at that particular instance, and then the writer get back to it. I mean, there's good and bad and everything.
And I also think, yes, this is a bad time because Stranger Things and Cobra Kai and those good shows, right? But you know what? I would rather those shows end, and like it's almost like you're draining the swamp.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Maybe something good will come out of this. You know what I mean? Like maybe some entry level person, maybe regular people will start writing and starting, because they're desperate right now. They're real desperate. They need writers.
Yeah, there's no original stories. They keep doing all these remakes, and it's like, golly, can't you people think for yourselves and come up with something new? It's frustrating.
And I'm telling you, it's just like, okay, it's just like the McDonald's workers screaming about $15 an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're screaming about $15 an hour and you got it. And it wasn't very long after that, they start putting in machines. Machines are going to take place, and AI will take your place. If you can't do your job and you're going to go pick it, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Either somebody is going to come in that's willing to take less than what you're screaming about and write something good, some entry-level person or some regular person, or you're going to be replaced by a machine because you bitched.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but again, we're going to have to suffer a little bit, but I think this might be a good thing. Maybe not, but I think it may drain the swamp, hopefully. Archer Collins says, I saw an article the other day about a newspaper that had to apologize after it was revealed that it had printed a woke article, which had, in fact, been written entirely by AI. Yeah. Yeah, it's happening, folks. It's going to happen that way because they are bitching. They're dumb. Dude, I wouldn't be, if I was a writer, I'd be like, shit, I'm working. I'm working because I know what's coming. AI is coming. AI is definitely coming. And they can make it woke too. You can tell AI to write anything you want and it'll write it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's already here. Definitely, it's already here.
It is. Shut up, Wesley. We don't want to hear you anymore. I'm tired of you. Anyway, I thought that was very, very. I saw that and I was like, we gotta talk about that. Come on, we gotta bash on some Wheaton today. We gotta bash some Wheaton. Yeah. So here's something that I'm really excited about. This is a quick article, but we talked last week. I think it was last week. God, I'm getting the days all mixed up. Last week we talked about the Winchesters was canceled, but now they're seeing some Jensen Ackles has supernatural resurrection pitch for HBO Max, which is what he should have done in the first place. Forget this spinoff stuff. Let's just go with this, buddy. This is the right path you need to be on. Supernatural star Jensen Ackles discusses his pitch to resurrect the beloved horror show as a 10-episode limited series on streaming service HBO Max. And he goes on to say that he wants it to be like it's a 10-episode short order for HBO Max, like a whole True Detective meets Supernatural. Which hey, I'm there. I think that's I don't know if you watched True Detective, but that was a phenomenal show. I think
not.
that's yes, you should definitely. It's got Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson in the first season.
Okay.
The first season's the best, but every season has a different detective detective team. I think Colin Farrell is in the second season.
Okay.
And they're coming out with the third season, I think. and I think that one is I think Rachel McAdams and somebody else. I think it could be Jodie Foster, but I don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But each season has a different detective duo. And I think that'd be kind of cool. Like I get where he's going with that. And this is a much better path. You know, forget the spinoffs, give people what they want.
Yeah, and you can do more. You can do more on HBO Max that you couldn't do on regular network TV.
And I kind of hope they don't, because that kind of what made the show kind of endearing, that they couldn't do all that. Because really, I don't want to hear Dean Winchester say the F word, even though we know he probably says the F word.
Yeah.
I mean, it was traumatizing enough to see him playing Soldier Boy on The Boys saying the F word. So, among other scenes that he did for the show. But yeah, I hope this happens. I hope this comes to. They would be very smart if they did this. I just hope it's not another Dexter debacle with Showtime. And I watched the first episode of Dexter, and I was like, of the new blood.
Mm-hmm.
It was boring. I haven't gone back to it, so I really hope this is a good move, not a bad one. But it's got to be better than the Winchesters. That's all I'm saying. So next thing we're going to talk about is John Pertwee passed away on this date in 1996. I don't know if people were aware of that. So I just wanted to, give that a little mention. As you guys all know, and Night Owl knows, and Night Owl kind of feels the way you're pretty much a big John Pertwee fan.
I've gone back and have been watching him and listening to his audio dramas that they have on YouTube and everything. And yes, love him. Fallen in love with him too. So definitely.
Yeah, so I wanted to mention it because I didn't even realize it today until I was just tooling around on Twitter, getting into trouble. And I noticed it, and I was like, I thought we should for a minute, because I've talked about John Pertwee just loads. Mm-hmm. I mean, just on these streams, and then my previous channel or streams that I did.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just he was a phenomenal doctor that you can't replace. I mean, I've made jokes that I wish that they could reanimate him and bring him back as the Doctor, because he really was an amazing doctor, despite people not believing in him at first, because he was a comedic actor.
I would love to see him and Peter do an episode together.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Yeah, wouldn't that be wonderful if he just I could clone him? You got some DNA?
Yeah.
Just do it. Because he was something else, and had a lot of gravitas, and man, there's just so many. I really have a hard time, even the worst, cheesiest episode. I have a hard time not liking any of his episodes, just at some level. And I love his interaction with the Brigadier. So even in the audio dramas, I think it's just brilliant. Yeah. I mean, he was an amazing doctor. He's the one that I took to him immediately. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't sure how. I mean, if I would, because the only doctor I ever knew was Tom Baker. Before I watched Classic, and I was like, wow, this is, honestly, Tom Baker coming after him. I'm sure that was kind of nerve-wracking even for Tom Baker.
Right.
So anyway, I thought we would just have a minute to kind of talk about John Pertwee, which that's never a bad thing. Never a bad thing to talk about John Pertwee.
True.
So, post of the week was posted double, which I think was hilarious, by John Steed and Neil Hardiman. And then, believe it or not, it was, to me, this post right here wins post of the week. The fact that Obi-Wan is apologizing for using the term "Sand People" is hilarious. Whoever made this meme, I don't know who the original meme maker is, but awesome.
Yeah.
Kudos. Yeah. I saw. I still I've still scrolled by and seen it twice, and I was like, I still laugh. It's still great. It is, and it's how it would be, and it's how they would want him to act if they remade Star Wars. They'd want him to do a scene where he's apologizing, and then he's learned his lesson. This would be exactly what they would want.
I know, and they would go back and do that with any past show, and that's the sad thing.
It is, and we laugh, but this is what they want. This is what they want when they do a show. Kind of sad, but I enjoyed it. In fact, obviously, and Neil Hardeman thought it was funny too, so he reposted it. So thought that was funny. Okay, so we're gonna talk about our main subject today, which it's not the articles, believe it or not.
No.
Because I don't believe unless let's talk about articles. It's like that's just So we're gonna talk about some really I wouldn't say all our book choices are fun. I don't want to say that because when you see the first one, that's not a good intro into the first book book movie combination we're going to talk about. I wouldn't call this first one fun, but I would call it, historical and sad and almost triumphant in a weird way. I don't know if you would say that, but
it's what I think it is. Oh God, yes.
Yes, we're gonna start with because I did it in the order that you gave it to me, and I wasn't sure what movie because they've made several, so I just used the old picture. From the
that's the movie. That's the movie we watched because we had to do the book and the movie, and I'm doing this with my teenage son it's part of our English/history class last year.
Right.
I mean, and we're listening to the audio version of the book, and I'm following along and. There's parts in there where I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this with my son? Because she talks about her private areas and, she's labeling it and everything. And
yeah, it's been a long time since I read the book.
And she has a crush on the kid there. Can't remember his name. I want to say Peter, I think.
Yeah,
but
I think I read the book in school.
They were in hiding and everything and everything that they went through. The book goes into great, great, great detail. And the movie...
I had forgot about the whole, what you just said about the private. Yeah. I mean...
Which is normal teenage girl stuff, honestly.
Right. It's a diary.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't fault it's a diary,
But I know, of course, they didn't have that in the movie. They couldn't, for the time the movie was written. But it gives you definitely a different perspective. And you find out that, I don't know if anybody's read it or knows the story, but you find out that in the end, the diary was, hidden and her dad, Frank, he had the thing. And then after doing research later on, after all was said and done, now there's been discrepancies about whether the diary was real. Maybe Frank wrote it, and it just leaves a lot more questions than it does really answers. So.
Yeah. And here's this, that she recounting day-to-day life in hiding from ordinary annoyances. Because, she's, like you said, she's a teenage girl.
Yeah.
And of course, and she's obviously just 13. So yeah, and I have actually never seen it. I've read the book, but it was, like I said, in school. So I don't remember a whole lot about it. I mean, it was kind of like, we had to read it. It was like for an assignment. So, but I've never actually seen any of the movies. So, so have you watched is that the only movie you've watched or have you watched?
That's the only one. No, that's the only one I watched.
Well, there's several, so that's why I listed these. But the one you're talking about is The Diary of Anne Frank in 1959. I
think that's the exact one. Yeah.
Right.
Because I think that where they filmed the movie was the actual building where they actually stayed. Wow. So, I knew it was interesting, and it really gave you insight and makes you question, could I have done what they had to do?
Right. I don't know. That's a scary thing. Like, can you imagine, like, any noise, anything? Like, you hear something outside, you know what I mean? Or you or you're afraid if you make a noise, they're going to get you. And like, you know, the things that they did to Jewish people were horrendous. I mean, they were just like, so they probably kind of were aware of what was happening to some degree.
Right.
So I imagine the fear and just you sitting there just waiting. The idea you're sitting there waiting, just you're almost like you're waiting to get caught.
Yeah, there was a scene in the movie. Some German soldiers actually entered the building, and they were, of course, up hiding. And she wanted to bring the cat, or no, it was Peter. Somebody brought the cat, and the cat was making noise and knocked something off. So, of course, the soldiers went upstairs. They didn't find the hidden doorway, but then they heard the cat meowing, and I think they saw the cat outside, and then they started laughing because they were, you know, looking, and it was a cat all this time. And the soldiers finally leave, and everybody upstairs, like all the relief you see on their faces, you know, it's like, phew, we dodged that bullet, you know. So,
yeah, but just that constant, man, I'm just like, oh my God, I would literally just be like afraid to talk, afraid to move, afraid to do anything. I don't know how she even like, just, I guess, you know, she was like, kids are very resilient. Because I'm thinking of it as like an adult, you know, like an adult would, but kids are very resilient, you know, like they can, you know, they can get into their own world. But I can't say if her parents, though, I'm sure her parents were completely fearful.
Yeah, and her father was teaching her in that little hidden room, you know, her schoolwork and everything. So
yeah, life had to go on.
Yeah, it did. And they would have to get food snuck to them and everything. And even the people sneaking the food had to be careful. So
yeah, that is it's amazing that you know, she was able to just, you know, write all this down and just, you know, I mean, honestly, I'd be too scared to document anything. I'd be like, I ain't moving. I'm not writing anything. I would, my mind would be focused on that totally. So that tells you what kind of person she was. Totally, like how strong she was. And that's an amazing thing.
It is.
So then there's actually other movies. The Diary of Anne Frank was in 2016. And then there was another one, The Story of Anne Frank, in 1985. And it was the BBC. It was made for the BBC. And then The Attic, The Hiding of Anne Frank, in 1988. This TV movie depicts the story of Anne Frank and her family. Okay, same thing. But so there's been several over the years, but you said your favorite is obviously the 1959.
Yeah.
So
now,
okay, go ahead.
There's a new, well, it's not new, but it came out, I think, in the 90s or early 2000s, called The Freedom Writer's Diary. And it's a true story. I never read the book, but I've seen the movie. And they actually, this teacher, she goes and she's teaching this inner city class, and you know, the kids are nothing but thugs and gangbangers and all this, and the school doesn't want to have anything to do with them, doesn't want to waste their time, and they actually read this book, and reading this book brings these people together. And in the movie, they write to Miss G's, who actually helped, you know, Anne Frank and others, I guess, and they bring her over here to the States, and she talks to them about it and everything. So if anybody wants to watch, you know, The Freedom Writer's Diary, it's a great film. Really
okay.
good film.
So that's another good suggestion. That's what we're about here. We're just trying to like give you guys something good to watch or interesting to watch. Okay. So let's see. So your next one was How to Train Your Dragon.
Yep.
By Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III. And this was obviously a film. And this had David Tennant in it, right?
Yep. David Tennant narrates the audiobooks and everything. And I think he plays Toothless. I don't know. But
okay, I heard that he did some voice work in it.
In the audiobooks, yeah, he does he reads them and he makes the different voices and everything. And the audiobooks are definitely completely different than the movie, because in the movie you see that Toothless is huge, you know, but in the audiobooks, you know, he's only like, you know, yay big.
Oh,
big, you know? So it's like, wow, that's a letdown, you know, because I have this fantasy that I want to be able to have a dragon and ride him and fly him, you know, like Hiccup does.
Right.
But the books, they're great adventures in themselves too.
Yeah, it says it's a series written by Cressida Cowell and published between 2003 and 2015. The series follows the adventures of a young Viking named Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III, who befriends a dragon named Toothless. The book series has been adapted to a movie trilogy by DreamWorks Animation. So there's 3 of them?
There's 3 movies, and then there's a TV series or 2. I think we have all of them, all the movies.
Oh,
and
wow.
stuff. But the books, they go on and on. And one thing I like about Cressida Cowell, that's actually my maiden name, her last name.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So makes me wonder if I'm kin to any of these people.
It looks really cute. I mean, and I've seen the Funko Pops of Toothless and the other dragon, Hiccup, I guess.
No, that's the Light Fury.
Okay. So what? Oh, Night Fury?
He's a Night Fury and she's the Light Fury.
Oh, okay. Got it. So, and they're really cute, like the little Funko Pops that they have for them.
Yeah, I have Toothless. He sits right in front of my steering wheel on my car. He's my navigator.
Oh, that's so cute.
So,
yeah, it's really cool that that as adults we can still get into like animated cute shows.
Oh, hell yeah.
Innocence, because it kind of takes you back to your innocence and makes you feel like a kid, and that's
I do like what Archer says. He says, "How to Train Your Dragon, easy, take a trip to Pern." I agree, just like the Dragon Riders of Pern. I've actually started collecting those books because I want to read them. And that's, golly, they're never-ending books. So, yeah, definitely.
It's so sad. Anne Frank died at the age of 15 in a concentration camp 2 weeks before it was liberated. Yeah, that's a tragedy. I really, the whole thing is really a tragedy, and it was so unnecessary, unnecessary. But yeah, but this was a happier one. I actually did change the order a little bit because I didn't want to put one of your other books right next to.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yes, I know that book. And that book.
Yeah. It's actually a movie that I refuse to watch because I know the ending.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and this is the one we're talking about, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Yeah, I was reading that book to my 2 older boys when they were like, I don't know, 9, 10. We'd always read together. That's one of the things that I wanted to do with them. And we're reading along, and I love the relationship the 2 boys have. And then as it gets towards the end of the book, I see what's coming. I know what's coming. And I'm able to skim down as I'm reading. And I'm like, I'm starting to cry because, oh my God, no.
Right.
And I'm crying as I'm finishing reading the book with them. And then we watch the movie. And then, you starts the whole cycle all over again. It's such a tragic ending.
And I think it's important to see this on film, see this point in history on film. But I'm one of these people that I've Schindler's List is a great movie.
Yes.
But I've only seen it once, and I can't bring myself to watch it multiple times. Just once is enough. It's so heavy, and it's like, so this doesn't seem as heavy, but I don't know how I came across reading something on the internet, and of course they revealed the ending, and I was like, oh no, no, I can't do that, and so I'm very sensitive because I think the Holocaust and all those, that it's just so horrible and hideous to me that some man could do this to children.
It is.
Adults, that's horrible too. I'm not saying that, but to children, that it really gets me. It gets me. So,
and as I was reading that with them, it's like I'm reading it from a mother's point of view.
Yeah,
and it's really, really hard.
Right.
I took a course in the Holocaust on a online school. And some of the stuff we had to read, I mean, I throw the book across the room because of the stuff I was reading.
It's vile.
It's definitely hideous.
Yeah.
So I mean, totally awful.
And I found this picture. I thought it was really kind of interesting how on the left side it's all mud, and it shows the other perspective. And I think that's a very cool filming technique. Apparently, when they were filming it, obviously. it looks down upon.
Yeah.
There is there. I'm assuming that's from a scene from the movie.
It is. It
yeah.
is. And the boy on the right, he's the son of the German who's overseeing the camp.
Wow.
And
yeah,
you know, I don't want to say what happens, but it's tragic. I mean,
so you have to be in a certain mindset when you. This is not something you want to escape. This is not a good escapism movie. This is when you're just kind of, you know, you're in a historical mood and you want to watch something that's kind of based on. Obviously, this is. I don't know. Is this a true story? Do you know or
that? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't.
I'd be interested to find out if this is actually like maybe a true account that they've, you know, kind of took liberties with, but it is a point in history where it's kind of historical because it's obviously the Holocaust happened and it was just terrible and violent and hideous, but obviously they created friendship and there's actually probably lovely scenes in the movie, but it's just like My Girl where you're just like, oh, this is a good show, and then like all of a sudden he's like, why does his face look like that, you know?
Yeah.
Where's his glasses? You know what I mean? Like, and she's looking over in the, you know, the casket, and it's like, oh my, you know, it was such a cute movie, you know? So, I mean, obviously you would know going in, this isn't a cute movie, but you would think that maybe something good happens, you know?
Right.
I mean, I guess that's the feeling I got when you were reading it, right? You kind of thought maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying, it's been so long, I'm trying to remember the end of the book and the end of the movie. I don't know if the commander overseeing the camp, if he stepped down or not. I should think he did, but I can't say any more or else I'd give the plot away.
Right. You don't want to do that. We're just trying to recommend movies that you enjoy and I
it's
enjoy.
It'll give you insight, especially if you're a parent, you know,
okay.
I mean, seeing both sides.
You know what? I will, this will be good if you haven't cried in a while and like you just want to watch a movie that you just like, you need to get something out. You just watch this, put it on. I'm sure you'll.
Yep, because it can be very cathartic.
I'm starting to get, my eyes are starting to water and I'm not even watched the movie. I'm just, the idea of it is just, anyway. Yeah. Okay. I think the next one is happier. No, it's not. It's not happier.
I love listening to Peter Capaldi read this book, though. I mean, I'm thinking, okay, about rabbits. Okay, cool. Oh my God, where did we go? You know,
well, look at the picture that I chose. I don't know. I laughed at this. For a good
rabbits
5 minutes.
fight. Yeah, I mean, there's like a hierarchy of rabbits in this story and everything, and I was like, oh my God.
I have heard, and I've never seen this. I never wanted to watch it for whatever reason, but I've heard that I have a friend of mine that her mom and dad thought this would look like a good show, like the original cartoon, which is on the right. This would be a good show for them to watch. And they said it traumatized them so badly. And I've heard other people say that too, that this is definitely not a show for kids. And like I said, I've never watched it.
There's a show on Netflix and Peter narrates the bird in there. I can't think of the name of the bird.
Right.
And I've watched that too. But you know, you got to look at it as well. That's life in the animal world.
There's a scene from I believe the one that Peter Capaldi was in.
Yeah.
And basically, it's a novel by Richard Adams, published in 1972, that tells the story of a group of wild rabbits who struggle to find and defend their home. The book has won awards and considered a classic children's literature.
Yeah.
It's been adapted into various forms of media, including an animated feature film in 1978, a television series from 1999 to 2001, and the drama in 2018. The story features anthropomorphized rabbit who live in their natural wild environment and face various challenges. The book explores themes of survival, friendship, and leadership.
Yeah.
I mean, on that, it doesn't sound like, but again, going back to this picture, what the hell?
Well, you know, it's like different gangs. That's basically like what the book is.
God.
Different gangs, you know,
like
and
the Crips and the Bloods.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, just because Peter was narrating it, it's how I found it and just listened to it, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
So it wasn't quite as traumatizing as the last book,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, definitely way better. And there are funny moments in there.
Okay.
So yeah.
So have you seen you've seen the original cartoon, obviously?
No, I have not seen the original cartoon, but I'll have to go look for it. But I have seen the one that's floating around on Netflix. Yeah.
Right. That's me after my day at work on the right.
that actually looks like it come out of The Secret of NIMH right there. I mean, now that's a great film.
That's the Holy Grail bunnies on crack. But yeah, I've actually wanted to watch the original cartoon because it's in the 70s, and and so maybe one day I'll become traumatized like the rest of the people out there that have watched it. I don't know if anyone in the chat, we've kind of ignored the chat for a little while. Sorry about that. We get kind of caught up.
Maybe we can have Mr. Hyde do a show on Sunday with it.
Right. Maybe it'd pass. I don't know if it would pass, but maybe we could all just be traumatized after the,
I like what Gary said.
If I ever feel like a good cry, I'll watch the Jody episode. Yes, that's a good, that would probably funny. Do it. Actually, I usually laugh when I see her on screen, not because she's funny, but because it's like, I can't believe what I'm seeing, and I find it hilarious. That's how I deal with pain. I just laugh at it.
What else can you
What's next? Animal Farm? No, Archer, I can promise you Animal Farm is not next.
No, we're living Animal Farm. That's real life right now.
Right. Right. We're living 1984 and Animal Farm.
Yeah.
At the same time.
And Brave New World. Don't forget that. And Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit 451 too. God. Banned book week. We need to do a banned book thing.
No. See, this movie must be really, really traumatizing because Wayne Ballard does no fuck that. Nope. I gotta watch it now. When people do that, it's like the human centipede or something. Is this the human centipede with bunnies? Is that what we're dealing with here? Anyway, let's see. Facebook user. I was brought the record of the song from Watership Down. Bright Eyes was traumatic enough. Oh, hi, John Steed. How are you doing? Okay, that's you. I didn't know who Facebook user was. Now I know. Cool. The picture on the right looks like Thumper gets rabies. I know when I saw it, like I laughed. I know it's a serious scene, and it must be what kids are talking about when they're maybe is the bunny eating other bunnies? Is a cannibal bunny? I don't know, but I gotta
fighting.
Know.
They fight. They fight and bite. So yeah, and get scratched. So
wow. Well, I gotta watch this movie. I really do. Maybe I'll talk Jason into watching it. Hey, let's watch Watership Down. It's a cute show. At all. I'm sure it's a very well made show. I'm not, I don't know if the Netflix one actually. Somebody said that this even the one on the Netflix is not made for kids at all. So it looks a lot better. It looks cute and innocent, but apparently it's not. So if you have kids or grandkids, probably just no on that one. Although we ended up, people I knew ended up pretty good. So I don't know.
Yeah.
maybe kids need to see that. It's like, hey, it's life. And so I don't know. Are we on number 5 already?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is Ender's Game, and why I feel like I've read this book. I don't know why. I just get the feeling I've read this book. I don't know. Sometimes when you read something and you just forget that you read it. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I knew they were making the movie, and my son and I, number 2 son, he was like 13. And so it was a race to see who could finish the book first. Okay. And he was listening to a playaway. So he was listening to it on audio, and I was actually reading the book. And he'd be like, "Did you get to this part yet?" And I'm like, "No, not yet. I'm working on it." And I'm like, "Oh, did you get here?" And he's like, "No." So we finished it, and I told him, I said, "If we finish the movie, we'll go see the movie together on opening day."
Right.
And and everything that we pictured in the book, which is still better than the movie, by the way, because it has more detail.
Mm-hmm.
It happened when they were describing the battle school that Ender went to and the zero gravity that they had to fight in.
Mm-hmm.
It was exactly how I pictured it. Orson Scott Card he has a way with words. He really does. And there's like 4 books in that series.
So you would say this book is way better than the movie, or is it comparable?
I think the book is way better than the movie because they left out a big portion. Ender has a sister, and she's at home while he's gone off to this battle school, because in this time period, they're only allowed to have 2 children, and Ender was the 3rd. And so his brother teases him and calls him the 3rd. And his brother washed out of the battle school because they're looking for soldiers and leaders to fight these alien insects. And they haven't found the right one yet to lead them. Well, that falls on Ender's shoulders as he progresses. And his sister, meanwhile, she's staying behind running these political boards, and the government, eventually catches her.
Mm-hmm.
And all that is just left out. So it's a really good book, really good movie. I'll still take the book over the movie.
Yeah, that's true in a lot of cases, not always, but
Asa Butterfield there, he did a great job as Ender. He really did. And Harrison Ford, he played the Commander Graff, just how I envisioned him in the book. Harsh, like a true military commander. So,
Hold on, is that Mikey Spock on the left? No. 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 Not Mikey Spock. Yeah, so that's your 5. So those are all good. You got a sci-fi, you got a little, you got 2 animations, and you got 2 really heavy ones, which that's cool too. It's like you don't always watch films to be necessarily escape.
Right.
Sometimes you watch films to make you to feel. Not that you don't feel, but to feel something.
Yeah, and back in the day when I was growing up, I would only read Star Trek novels. That's all I wanted to read. And
nothing wrong with that.
Even in school, I didn't want to read whatever we had to read.
Right.
I'm like, oh no,
Some of it was boring. Some of it was. I remember having to read The Scarlet Letter, which isn't a bad book by any means, but it just wasn't something that I was necessarily into.
Yeah.
But I got excited when it was like it was time to read Edgar Allan Poe. I'm like, all right, sign me up. So I'm sure they weren't like telling you. It would have been cool to have a teacher's like, okay, today we're going to read a Star Trek novel, or today we're going to read, something, cool, rather than, let's read Walden by Henry David Thoreau again,
Yeah.
So
and, Archer. The Last Starfighter, they did play a video game, and then the guys who created the video game, they came and took him, and he actually went and fought, in another galaxy or wherever he was. But love that movie too. It's a great classic.
Oh, The Last Starfighter is a great movie.
I always wanted that to happen. That's why I spent a lot of time in arcades.
I remember my mom renting that movie for me, and I like watched it and watched it and watched it. And I really need to find a copy of that movie because I really did enjoy that as a kid. It's been, I haven't probably seen that movie since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Definitely one to put, to buy for my collection. Okay. So mine are a little bit different. There is there's a heavy one in here. Are all pretty heavy, really. It's just a different kind of genre. I'm going to start with mine. Mine is Salem's Lot, which I'm sure a lot of people already know that, like, massive fan of the book and the miniseries, the 1970s miniseries with David Soul. And I love this book because it is one of the very few books, like, I don't get scared, but, like, I used to have a habit of, like, I read a lot. I've read a lot of horror books. That was kind of my thing, more than sci-fi when I was a teenager. And I had this thing where I would, on the weekends or summertime, I would go to the library, and it was like a thing I do with my dad, and I would get like 6 or 7 books, and Salem's Lot was one of them. And I remember, like, staying up till like 2 in the morning reading this book, and the scene that got me in the book and how it was apparently just, I started hearing noises, and it was like the part where, like, they're walking up the stairs and they know that that there's one of the turned up there, David Soul, and I believe it was the I think it was the town doctor. They were walking up the stairs, and they knew when they got up to the room what they were going to find. And that scene just terrified me in the book. Now, in the movie, I saw the movie first. I saw the movie when I was really young, and there was some major scenes that terrified me, and I think a lot of people, like, this movie is in their nightmares. And what they find upstairs is that guy sitting in the chair, one of the locals. Yeah. But it was a really well-made miniseries, and of all these in my group, I think it's the most consistent with the book. Yes, the book is a little different. The book, the vampire Barlow, like, he talks. And in the movie he doesn't, which is very effective. But there's just so much atmosphere in this movie and in the book. It's just, again, it's almost so perfect. It's like, I don't understand why when I heard that they're going to remake it. Please do not remake this movie. You've already done it once with Rob Lowe. It was terrible. If you're going to watch a movie that's adapted from this book, watch this one. I have the Blu-ray. I have watched it a couple of times. It's so good. It's so good. It's when they made good miniseries back in the 70s, and David Soul is much more than his character in Starsky and Hutch. I mean, he really, like, I don't know if he won an Emmy, but he should have. I mean, it was just so good. It was directed by Tobe Hooper. And it was just it has James Mason in it, and it's just, and they tried to make a sequel, and it was just terrible. But
I remember Salem's Lot being played on the TV as a series, and
yeah,
I mean, I'm not a Stephen King fan, but I saw the clip you were talking about, or how they want to remake it, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know it was about vampires. Well, shit. So now I got to go and look at it.
Yeah, you should definitely watch the miniseries. The book is good. I would say the book and the miniseries are equally good, just a little different. But they're more close than most things, and I'm pretty particular. But usually when I watch something based on a book, I don't like to see the movie first, because I like to imagine the characters how I want them. But in this case, I did it backwards again, which I stopped doing that because usually, like, it's distracting. But again, this was like, it'd been years since I saw the miniseries, so I didn't remember anything about it other than David Soul was in it. But I was like, it's one of Stephen King's better books. It really is. You know, he to me, Stephen King has written two really solid books, and Salem's Lot and The Stand are 2 of them. That's the 2. The Stand being slightly better. He hates that book, The Stand. I don't understand why, because to me that's his best work. This and Salem's Lot. But yeah, I know there's a lot of fans out there, and it's just, again, I could go on all day about Salem's Lot. I could just sit here and go, oh, it's just it's just so cool. It's just such a cool vibe to it. And it is one of the very few books that actually scared me at 2 a.m. as a teenager. I'm like, oh, I probably should go to bed. You start imagining all kinds of things, little glowy eyes in the corner. Great things. But yeah, definitely one of my favorites. Definitely. Yes, there was. It was another miniseries in 2004 with Rob Lowe that, yes, it wasn't good. I watched it just to give it a shot to see. It's when 2004 when you still had hope that they could remake something good, you know?
Yeah.
um, yeah, he's right. Some of the scenes are off screen. It was very unsettling. Yes. Yes. Um, Salem's Lot is my absolute favorite. It's on par with Scaring Us to Watership Down. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It really is. It stays with you. Um, it really does. And it's also a love story too. A tragic one, but it has a love story in it, but it was well done. As Bonnie Bedelia, which she's a great actress. She's been in a lot of Stephen King stuff. She was in Needful Things. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but she was also in that. And
No.
also in Die Hard, she played the wife.
Oh, okay. I know who she is.
Okay, so this one is a little dark. This is not a dark one. I mean, this is a happy one too, and it's a kind of unusual one because you wouldn't think, oh, it looks like a chick flick, but it's so much more than that. The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. And on the left, of course, is the scene from the movie. It is like a movie about mothers and daughters, and just their mothers, you know, what they went through to get to the country, and their lives, and their like, you know, the country of their birth. And
Okay.
it's really, really a good movie. The Joy Luck Club is a novel written by Amy Tan in 1989. It focuses on 4 Chinese immigrant families in San Francisco who start a club known as the Joy Luck Club, playing the Chinese game of mahjong for money while feasting on a variety of foods. The book is structured similarly to a mahjong game with 16 interlocking stories about lives of the 4 Chinese immigrant mothers and their 4 American-born daughters. And one of the stories that struck me is one of the moms like lost her like her children, you know, like she lost them, like there was like some sort of like they were in some kind of revolution, and she lost her children.
Wow.
Like they, you know, and so it just took her years and years and years to find her children, and she went to America and got married to another man. And then all this time, like her daughter didn't understand, why are you so cold? Why are this, you know? And then you see these scenes where like you see her children, you know, she's lost her children, thinking her children are dead. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of the deep, you know, not understanding your mother, you know, and there's a lot of, I mean, but it's so well made. It's so well done. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie, but it's the stories are really good. And you recognize probably some of the actresses that are in it, but it's just about their lives and the daughters not understanding their mothers and in their culture. And it's a very well made movie. And I did enjoy the book. Partly because I think I was at the age of some of these girls at the time. And at the time, I didn't understand my mother either, you know? So to me, I related to that. I related to not understanding your mother. And now that I'm older, now I'm like, oh, I'm on the other side of it, although I don't have a daughter, but I'm on the other side of it.
Right.
Where like, wow, now I can relate more with the mother.
Yeah, because the curse works, you know. Just wait till you have kids of your own. I hope they turn out just like you. I heard that all the time growing up, and now that we're going through that, it's like, oh, damn. Now I get it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, even though I'm not, you know, like I'm not from China, I mean, I can relate. There's so much relatable things in the story, and the acting is so well made. And I don't like, if they made this now, it would be just woke and bad, and it wasn't woke, you know. Like you cared about these people, and you cared about these women, and then one woman, you know, she was married, she was in a bad marriage, and she actually killed her husband, you know, and then her daughter didn't know that she did that, you know. It's just, there's a lot of, it's very well made, definitely worth watching. It's a nice Sunday afternoon movie to put on and watch, and it's more than just a regular chick flick, you know, and which I'm not into at all. So it's definitely worth your time, worth reading. I actually read the book before I saw the movie. And it was odd because, you know, I don't normally go for these kind of books. My sister's like, hey, here's a book. Yeah, I got a couple books here. And it's like, I took them and I was like, oh, what's the Joy Luck Club? I was bored. And I started reading it. And I was like, well, this is really well made and really well written. And Amy Tan is a good author. she gets you to relate to a different culture than your own, and it really did. I quite enjoyed it. So definitely worth your time if you haven't.
Yeah, when books or even film can get you to look at another culture and step in their shoes and give you insight, that's when they're well written.
Yeah, and that's what that did. And I was really into this book, and I read one of her other ones too, but I don't remember which one it was called. But this one stuck with me. And again, it's well made, and the actresses, and their actors are so good in it. It's so engaging, and you want to know like what happened to this person to make them this way. And then it shows what they went through getting to America and doing the things for their children and being misunderstood by their own daughters. So that's what it's about. So the third one is Communion, which is it's one of the first nonfiction. No, this is the only nonfiction book. This is the second nonfiction book from this whole list. And it depends on if you think this is nonfiction or not.
Well, I know exactly who Whitley Strieber is, and I love him, so I get it.
Yeah, and this is a book that I actually had just recently saw the movie. I haven't seen the movie until maybe a couple years ago. And I wasn't, this is on this list. This is probably the least of the movies versus, although Christopher Walken is great in it, I don't think the book is more terrifying than the movie, if that makes any sense. But Christopher Walken does a great job playing Whitley Strieber. This book right here, I remember my son was real little when I read this book, and I remember just feeling like the walls were coming in, because after reading this book for a few hours, you're just like, what's out there? Because he describes it so well and so realistically that you're just like, it's hard for me to sit here and go, well, he sounds like he's lying, because it doesn't. I mean, if you've seen Whitley Strieber, and obviously you like him, so you have, in interviews, he seems very kind of strange at times.
Yeah.
But when you read the book and you sit down and you read how he describes these visits that he has, it's just like, yeah, it doesn't sound like you're lying. It doesn't at all. It isn't like you're just reading like some made up science fiction novel. It really feels real, and you feel his claustrophobia. It's like almost like a claustrophobic thing. But again, Christopher Walken does a great job in the movie. I don't know if you've seen the movie.
No, I haven't.
Special effects could be better. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, you see this is one of the aliens that come out. It doesn't look that great, but
really skinny there.
yeah, it is. It's one of the, and it doesn't look grays, because he calls them in the book. He calls them grays.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read the book. Have you read the Communion book?
No, but I've heard Whitley Strieber, I think, do interviews on Art Bell's radio show back in the day. So
yeah. It is one of those weird things when people tell people like you've read this book, or you're like, you kind of think there's some validity to it. They're just like, what? Like, you're telling me this writer went to his cabin just just to get away, and in the middle of the night where his family, his wife and daughter were sleeping, he was visited by these gray creatures that took him on a journey that it wasn't a nice journey. And it was just, I think the way it was just how he described how he felt pure fear and just feeling nauseated, which makes me think it was something else than aliens. But that's a whole, we could do a whole other podcast on that.
Yeah, really.
What I think these things are, and they're not aliens. But anyway, yeah, I did enjoy the book. I don't know if I really enjoyed the book. The book was terrifying, but it was also very informative. So, but this is one time though with the book, I think the book was better than the movie. It didn't quite capture.
Yeah. I see Gary wrote something. I didn't know that he wrote Wolfen.
He did. And The Hunger as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Before he started writing nonfiction alien abduction books, he actually was a writer, and he wrote The Hunger and Wolfen and several others. And I have read Wolfen. I do like the book Wolfen better than the movie, even though Albert Finney's in it. And I did like the Hunger movie better than the book. So, but yeah, he did write horror novels in sci-fi, I believe, before he started writing nonfiction. And he wrote one other one called Transformation, which I've also read. I think I have it here somewhere still. I think it was Jason's, but yeah, that I have to say, if you want to get scared to death and read it, don't read it at night. If you're going to read it, don't read it at night. Don't be reading any of this at night. Trust me on this one. I always do that. I'm just like, no, especially nonfiction. So that's my third one. And so my fourth one is another vampire show, because I was really into vampire books back in my 20s. And I really remember picking up this book, and it's a book written in the 70s called Interview with a Vampire. You guys might have heard of it. I don't know, by Anne Rice.
My husband read it. My husband read the book and likes the book better than the movie. So
yeah. The book is way better than the movie. The whole series is better than any of the movies and the TV shows. But I think of all the media that they had, I do like Queen of the Damned movie. Okay, don't judge me, but I did like that movie. But I think it's close. I remember being very disappointed when I went and saw this movie in the theater, because I was such a massive fan that I'd read the book. I had the audiobooks. I don't have them anymore, but I had the books, and I had, I was really into Anne Rice at one time. Yeah. And I just remember thinking this is the coolest thing ever, because the character of Lestat was just the coolest vampire ever. Because he just didn't care. And it was like, Louis, it's not Louis, Louis was a whiny bitch. That was obviously like, and I think in the book though, I think Louis was much more, it made more sense to why he was depressed and didn't really want to take on this life, than in the movie. I think Brad Pitt kind of winded up, was a little too whiny, put too much in that with that cheese, a little bit. But I think as a whole, I think Tom Cruise, as much as I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan, he did a good job playing Lestat. Not what I would imagine in my mind, but definitely cool. I like the idea that a guy's going to come in and these are modern day vampires, and he's actually interviewing a real vampire, which was Louis in the book. But I think it was at the, in the 90s, it was a real resurgence of this type of thing. And so, but I do still think this is a great book. I really do. And I think it kind of changed the vampire genre, and made it something very different. While it kind of stood by the lore of what an actual vampire is, the vampires don't sparkle.
Right.
They aren't good. There aren't good people or good creatures. They're not like, they're not going to fall in love with some high school girl. They're not going to do that. I mean, these are very, very vile, evil creatures, but they're just more elegant about it. And I liked that at the time. And I liked the way it said it was like in New Orleans. And I remember that kind of like an impression on me, like all these beautiful mansions. There's something very Southern about it that, being a Southerner, I can appreciate. I love a good Southern Gothic tale, and this is it. Kirsten Dunst was in it as Claudia. I was not a fan of her. She was just really like the vampire child in the show, and she's like really extremely whiny. I didn't like her in the book, but I think she was much more cunning in the book, which I prefer. She had more of a cunning, and there you see some of that, but I don't think it quite. I mean, Neil Jordan tried, but I don't think it quite showed her cunning and just the nuances with the characters as much. But it's just my opinion. I don't think it's a bad film. they've tried now to. I'm gonna go back. I've just revealed my other one. They've tried to go back and they've made a new one on AMC featuring the characters from Anne Rice novels, which is in around Lestat de Lion Court. They've kind of wokeified it now. And I know it got Anne Rice's approval, but it's like, I think she just like, she kind of just fell in, towed the line with the woke crowd and gave them what they want, which was basically Lestat and Louis to have some sort of sexual affair. Which was not at all like, yes, it was alluded to that they weren't interested in those things anymore. They were interested in the blood. So it became like almost a sexual thing, but it wasn't like sex. I don't know if that makes any sense. But now, because we have snowflakes, they have to see that it's a sexual relationship because they can't, read between the lines.
See the deeper meanings, yeah.
Right. It was more deeper and meaning, and so I don't watch the new series. It's gotten good reviews, but it's just not my thing. And they've also race swapped Louis with a black character. So
the only vampire series that I've watched is True Blood, and Kindred when it was out. Kindred and there's another one, Forever Night.
I've seen Forever Night a long time. I've seen a few episodes. I knew had a friend that was a big fan of that show. I watched True Blood. I watched that show. I watched it from the beginning to the end. And I started to rewatch a while back, but I haven't really got back into it. But yeah, I think there was a resurgence in the 90s, and then obviously a resurgence again with True Blood, because I think that's when it came back. And I did like how they did their vampires too, because they were doing something totally different with people being, like, okay, it's just everyday people. It's the guy down at the gas station. He's a vampire. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because if that happened, it would be like that. It wouldn't be like, Brad Pitt walking out, it wouldn't be somebody like that. It would be like the Bubba down the street in the trailer,
Right.
That's what I liked. That's what I liked about it, because they were trying to do something more realistic, as you can get realistic with the vampire show.
Yeah.
Only vampire series I've ever liked, not counting Kolchak, who stalked vampires, was Angel, which I like way more than Buffy. That's interesting. I wouldn't imagine you liking that show, but that's interesting. Okay, so let's get to my last one, which you all have seen. Because I got a little crazy with the keys there. The Princess Bride. And this is the only one, I think, that I actually watched the movie first. No, this is the second one. I watched the movie first and then read the book. And this is the only one in here that I like the movie way, way better than the book. Way better. The book does not have the Peter Falk character, the grandfather, reading the book. It's actually the author narrating the book, acting like, he's kind of in the book, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
And I remember being very excited about the movie. My dad took me to see this movie, and I fell in love with this movie. I've seen this movie so many times. And it was so magical, and just, I think I was like 15 or something when I saw it. I fell in love with of course, the oh god, what is his name?
What, Montoya?
No.
Blonde?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name either, but I love the movie. It's a great film.
Cary Elwes. Thanks for saying his name. Yeah. I fell in love. I fell in love with him.
Wesley.
Wesley. Yes. And I thought it was fun, and it was like, it was like a child's storybook.
Right.
Obviously a bedtime story, because Peter Falk's reading it to the Fred Savage character. And I just really liked it. I just really liked the movie. I liked the movie so much more. I think I've read the book one time. I would never reread it again. It was okay. I mean, yes, the story was there, but it just seemed like it fell flat compared to the movie with these characters. They were so animated. We had Andre the Giant, and oh God, I can't remember the guy's middle guy's name, but he says inconceivable all the time. And then Mandy Patinkin, I mean, he's just, Inigo Montoya, he killed my father, prepared to die. That was just awesome. All of that was so awesome. As much as Rob Reiner is such a leftist liberal, like he did great with this film.
Yeah.
And it has stood this test of time. My son, I remember coming on and he falling in love with it, liking it. And then it doesn't suit any it suits all generations.
It does.
It's just transcends all of that. And so for me, this is one of my favorite films, really. It's just a fun film. If I want to feel like a kid again, I'll just put this on. You know, the scenes with Billy Crystal, have fun storming the castle. It's just really good fun stuff. And then, we have Chris Sarandon as, Prince is it Prince Humperdinck or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just great. It's just a great film. And I can't say enough about it.
I hope it's one movie they leave alone. Don't try to remake it. Just leave it,
Yeah. I mean, just leave it alone. And I'm sure they'll try to remake it. They always do. And it's like, why do you got to do that? But no, it was just, I don't know. It's one of those movies where you're like, you don't know much about a movie, and your dad goes, hey, let's go to the movie. And it's like, okay. And it's like, let's see this movie. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like, it blew my mind away. That is this little film and it just took off after that. It also became just a cult movie, even though it was successful.
Yeah, it has action, adventure, it has romance, the romance
comedy
builds over the movie, which is what I like. It's a slow burn, so that's good.
Right. Pirate Roberts. I mean, just the whole thing. It's like, I don't know. It's almost got a little Monty Python feel to it as well, a little bit, like just more for kids. I'm not a fan of Time Bandits. I get a lot of crap for this, but I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Time Bandits, but it was my favorite movie.
I might have seen bits and pieces.
It kind of reminds me of that a little bit, but I think this movie is way better. And I don't know. I love it. And you can show your kids this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nothing sexual in nature about it. It's just clean.
Yeah, it's just nice. If you just want to feel like you want to clean your palate from your brain from the world, just watch The Princess Bride. You can't go wrong with it. It's so good. It's so good. So, what are we going to talk about next week?
Oh, gosh.
For all this.
Oh, what do you guys out there in the chat want to hear?
I mean, I wish people would give me not give me. I can't. We can think of ideas, but it's nice to hear from you guys. What do you want to hear? Because I'm when I'm looking up articles, right? I'm like, I only know what I'm interested in. I don't it's hard for me to go, well, so-and-so, I'm not into this, but they may be, and I'm willing to talk about just about anything that you guys want to talk about. I mean,
when they have a banned book week, which, what is it? Did we already miss it? I don't remember when it comes around, but we ought to do a banned book episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of books on that list.
And I'm sure I've read some of them. I'm sure you read some of them.
Yeah.
And if I haven't read some of those banned books, I need to really get busy because I mean, I think everybody should read banned books unless it's something that, they're showing your kids in school today. Yeah. And actually you probably should read those because you need to know what they're showing your kids or your grandkids.
Exactly. I mean, I'm glad that my kids never step foot in the school. I mean, with everything I hear.
So you've homeschooled your kids from the beginning,
from
right?
the get-go, yes. Yep. Oh. And my son, my youngest, my last one, he has a decision to make. He can either graduate in September or December, and he's probably going to go with the September. So we'll be doing summer school, and you know what? That's okay too. He'll graduate as a junior.
That you do that. I mean, hats off to you. That's a lot of hard work, and a lot of perseverance to be able to keep doing that. Sounds like you got good kids. Sounds like you do, because I probably would have been a horrible like being homeschooled. I mean, like, okay, now it's time to pay attention. You know.
Well, they actually, a lot of the stuff they've learned on their own. They've gone and ferreted things out, you know, and as long as they have a love of learning to learn what they want, go for it, you know. But, you know, you got to all adhere to what the state wants. Well, screw what the state wants, you know.
I think that needs to change because I think I kind of maintained an AB honor roll in high school, but that was just like, you know, taking regular classes. Like I didn't like, I'm going to go beyond and take honors. I mean, but I always excelled at things that I enjoyed doing and enjoyed writing about.
Yeah.
If somebody gave me a topic, I wanted to rebel because I don't tell me what to write about. Don't tell me what to, you know, what I think that within reason, I think kids should be allowed to read what they want because they're going to do better.
Right.
On things that they like and enjoy.
Exactly. And, you know, not all kids learn the same. You know, my youngest, you know, he learns best by watching a lot of YouTube videos. Everything that he's taught himself, that's how he's ferreted it out. So, you know.
Here's a suggestion. How about great movies you've never heard of? Well, I can help with that because there's some movies that I've watched that probably you guys have never heard of.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But then again, there's always that person like, I've heard of it. But then you find like, okay, there's my people. There you are. That you actually like, though. There's plenty of movies you've never heard of that we probably wouldn't like.
Probably.
That's why we've never heard about them, because they're bad.
Even John said, how about write-ups on TV shows and the media? How write-ups on TV shows and the media have changed perspective over the decades would be good to look at.
Yeah, that would be actually kind of depressing, but we could do that if you guys wanted that. That would be like by the time we're done with the podcast, to be like, hi everybody, we're gonna go have a drink now.
You know, I wonder if I could get Joseph Malazzi, he's a writer for Stargate, to come on and talk about that.
Oh, that's cool. So you know him, right?
Well, I chat with him on Twitter and everything, and he responds. So
cool.
And I told him about the show. So if he's watching,
that's cool. That's cool. That's really
just get
awesome.
back with me. I mean, it would be great to get a writer's perspective too.
Right. Exactly. Because that's who you need to get, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we can tell, like, it's definitely, you know, the media definitely has changed.
Oh, yeah, you know, definitely.
Definitely. Well, anyway, this has been a lot of fun. I am going to go take a nap. That's what I'm going to do. I don't know, and then I may get up and have a drink and enjoy the rest of our weekend.
Cheerio.
Bye.